Today we are going to work on solving multiple step problems. We have been working on them all year, but now it is your turn to do them on your own. Let's look at the problem. Last year, 18 people went on a family camping trip. We want to find out how many more people went this year than last year. We always have to find the hidden question. So, if we look over here in the little chart, it tells us that last year 18 people went, and this year 3 times as many people went. So our hidden question is, how many people actually went this year? Let's look at step 1. So we've already found our hidden question, so we need to do 18 times 3 to find out how many people actually went camping this year. And if we multiply 3 times 18, this is our equation right here, what I just highlighted. We're going to get that there are 54 people. Then, in step 2, we need to take the people that went this year, which were 54 people, and subtract the people who went last year, which were 18. And if we take 54 minus 18, we get a total of 36 more people went this year than last year. Remember that if you hear the word how many more, you know you're going to need to either add or subtract. And if you hear the word times as many, you know that you're going to either need to multiply or divide. You're going to have to read the question very, very carefully to figure out what you need to do. Let's do the guided practice together. I'm also going to do numbers 3 and 4 with you on the independent practice. Number 1. In the problem on the previous page, suppose there were 4 large tents for the people to stay in for this year's trip. The planners tried to put the same number of people in each tent. We want to find out how many people were in each tent. All right, let's think about this. We know from the previous page that there are 54 people who are going camping this year. If there are 4 large tents for people to stay in, we need to figure out how many people are going to be in each tent. Since they are putting the same number of people in each tent, I know I need to divide. So I'm going to need to divide 54 divided by 4 to find out how many people, I'm going to use P, are going to stay in each tent. So since this is my equation, we'll be able to solve it. We're going to put 54 into our division bar. There are 4 people to a tent, so 4 goes into 5 once. 4 times 1 is 4. We're going to subtract and bring down our 4. 4 goes into 14 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to have a remainder of 2. In our question, it says that the planners tried to put the same number of people in each tent. Well, if there's only 4 tents, so I'm going to draw them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 4 tents. So I have 13 people in each tent, but then I'm going to have 2 people left out. So there's going to be 13 people in this tent, 13 people in this tent, 13 people in this tent, 13 people in this tent. But then there's 2 people, I'm just going to draw 2 lines, that are not in a tent. So we need to add those people into a tent. So one of those people are going to stay in this tent over here. So that's going to make this tent actually have 14 people, not 13 people. And then the last person is going to stay in this tent right here. And so this tent will also have 14 people. So I'm going to have 2 tents with 14 people and 2 tents with 13 people, which are going to equal the 54 people who are camping. Since it says in the question that they tried to put the same number of people in each tent, it doesn't say that they exactly put the same number. So not all the same tents will have the same number of people. Let's look at number 2. It says, how can you decide if your answer to exercise 1 right here is reasonable? Well, if we add up the people in each tent, let's see if it equals 54 people. So I have in tent number 1, I have 14 people. In tent number 2, I have 14 people. In tent number 3, I have 13 people. And then in the last tent, I have 13 people. So if I add this up, 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 3 more is 11, plus 3 more after that would be 14. Regroup my 1. So I end up with 54 people. So yes, my answer is reasonable. Let's go ahead and do questions 3 and 4 together as well. It says in questions 3 through 8, write the hidden question, then draw a bar diagram and write equations to solve the problem. Each problem, use estimation to decide if your answer is reasonable. So there's a lot of stuff we need to do. We have to figure out the hidden question, then draw a bar diagram, and then write equations. So I'm going to draw a little line right here to separate questions 3 from 4. Okay, let's start with number 3. Number 3 says, Martin raked 3 lawns last week and 4 lawns this week and earned $168. He earned the same amount raking each lawn. We want to find out how much did Martin earn raking each lawn. Well, looking at this problem, I can see that the hidden question is we need to find out the total number of lawns that he raked. To figure out the total number of lawns Martin raked, we're going to write our equation. Since he raked 3 lawns last week and 4 lawns this week, we're going to do 3 plus 4 equals T for total. So the total number is going to be 7. So now that we know the total number that he raked, we want to find out how much that he earned for each lawn. So we're going to take $168 and divide it by the 7 lawns that he raked, and then we're going to get our total. So I'm going to put a money sign. And if I divide that, I'm just going to use a division bar. 168 divided by 7. Well, 7 goes into 16 twice. 7 times 2 is 14. Subtract and bring down my 8. 7 goes into 28 4 times. I know it's kind of hard to see, but he got a total of $24 per lawn, and that's going to be my answer. So first, just to go back, we found out the total number of lawns he raked by adding the 3 lawns that he raked last year, plus the 4 lawns he raked, last week, plus the 4 lawns he raked this week. Since he earned a total of $168, I divided 168 by the 7 total lawns that he raked, and so he got a total of $24 per lawn. Let's look at number 4. Number 4. There are 24 students in a class. All of the students except 2 went bowling. What is the total cost if each student who went bowling paid $5? Well, let's look to find the hidden question. So the hidden question is going to be, how many kids actually bowled? Well, if we look at the problem, we have 24 students in the class, and it says all except 2 went bowling. That tells me I need to take 24 kids and subtract 2 to find out that 22 kids actually went bowling. Now, if each person who bowled paid $5, That tells me I need to multiply. So I need to multiply 22 times 5 to find out the total cost. I'm going to call it C. Multiply that down here, 22 times 5. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. Regroup my 1. 5 times 2 is 10 again, plus 1 more is 11. So we spent a total of $110. I'm going to say that since there's not a lot of room, don't worry about drawing the bar diagrams. Go ahead and just try to figure out how to solve the problems. We will work on the bar diagrams tomorrow. Go ahead and do numbers 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then do number 11 on the back. Make sure that you underline the question, circle what you know. You may have to read it a few times, and that's okay. Try to do the best you can, and try to solve at least one before you ask for help.